everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome back to the spring campaign for Arkham Horror, the card game. Before we jump in, a quick moment of silence for all of the troops that have never made it home for this Memorial Day. Thank you for indulging me on that. Last week, the Waking Investigators picked up 7 experience that we spent in our last upgrades video. We're all set now for the last scenario on the Waking side, Weaver of the Cosmos. First up, let's set the scene.
Scenario 4B, Weaver of the Cosmos. Intro. Everything has led to this. Virgil's writings, your companion's never-ending sleep, St. Mary's, the Black Cat, all of it. You have no choice but to press on. This trans-dimensional space is home to a creature that would obliterate your world and replace it with a new reality. A nightmare-scape of pitch-black darkness and creatures that prey on your kind. If you cannot stop its weaving, there will be no Earth left to wake up to. You have to do something, even if it means your end. Proceed to set up.
Right. Well, as we know from... I'm not going to spoil what happened on the dream side in case you haven't seen that video yet. Make sure you go check that out on the channel if you haven't already. Anyway, let's take a look at the tarot reading next. Unlike on the dream side, the Waking Investigators left the High Priestess 2 on its good side. During the first lore test each investigator performs each round, they get +1 lore. The Waking Investigators flipped the World 21. Each investigator defeated during this game suffers 1 trauma of their choice during its resolution. Of course, this being the last scenario of the campaign, we're not likely too worried about that. So, on that note, let's take a look at opening hands. Trish will be our lead investigator this time. And a card I mulliganed hard to see in her first, and Luke's opening hand pops up in Trish's. As we've got Dr. Milan Christopher, Professor of Entomology. 4 costs to play, lore on commit. You get +1 lore, and after you successfully investigate, gain a resource. I would be stunned if he's not my first play. Next up, we've got Deduction Level 2, 2 lore on commit. If the skill test is successful while investigating a location, discover 1 additional clue at that location, 2 instead if you succeed by 2 or more. Then we've got 21 or Bust. 2 costs to play, combat agility on commit. 1 at a time, reveal random tokens from the chaos bag until you choose to stop. Treat each bad symbol except the tentacle as a 5, the tentacle as a 10, and the other sign is either a 1 or an 11. If the combined value of these tokens, ignoring plus or minus, is 18 or less, gain 4. 19 gain 5, 20 gain 6, 21 gain 9. I don't know what would be the weirder place for Trish to want to play blackjack. In a boat in the sea of pitch or surrounded by spider webs. We'll find that out soon enough. Next up we've got Eureka. Will, lore, or agility on commit. If the skill test is successful, the investigator performing the test searches the top 3 cards of his or her deck for a card, draws it, and shuffles their deck. And Occult Lexicon, which I'm happy to see now, but I might be a little bit happier to see it later. 2 costs to play, lore on commit. Limit 1 per deck. Forced, after Occult Lexicon enters play, search your bonded cards for 3 copies of Bloodright. Add 1 to your hand and shuffle the other 2 into your deck. When Occult Lexicon leaves play, find each of these copies of Bloodright, even if they're out of play, and set them aside out of play. It takes up a hand slot. Taking a look at Sister Mary's opening hand, she'll be able to do a little bit with clues, but I expect we'll be starting off with her ally. Greta Wagner, the Purifier, level 3. 5 costs to play, combat, lore, wildcard on commit. You get +1 combat and +1 lore. Then a reaction after you defeat an enemy, exhaust Greta Wagner and deal 1 damage to her. Discover 1 clue at your location or a connecting location. We need to find her a weapon pretty quick, but we do have a Read the Signs to help out with cluevering. 2 costs to play, will, and lore on commit. Investigate plus will to your skill value for this investigation. You may ignore any effect or keyword on your location which would trigger during this investigation. If you succeed, discover one additional clue at your location. Next up, we've got a Storm of Spirits. 3 costs to play, lore, combat on commit. Fight using will instead of combat. If you succeed, instead of its standard damage, deal 2 damage to each enemy at your location, and any additional damage is dealt to the attacked enemy. If a bad symbol is revealed during the attack, deal 1 damage to each investigator at your location. We've got a Vicious Blow level 2, 2 combat on commit. If the skill test is successful during an attack, the attack deals +1 damage. +2 instead if you succeed by 2 or more. And Daring, 3 wildcard on commit. Commit only to a skill test during an attack or evasion attempt against an enemy. That enemy gains Retaliate and Alert for the duration of the skill test. After the test ends, draw 1 card. Next up, let's take a look at the starting act and agenda decks. Agenda 1A, the Bridge of Webs. This vast expanse of space is a bridge between the dreamlands and reality, woven by a terrible spider creature that is the cause of all of the distortions you have experienced thus far. If you don't find a way to stop it from completing the bridge, it will open the way for these horrors to enter the waking world. This agenda gets +2 per investigator doom threshold. Forced. When this agenda advances, do not remove doom from locations in play. So the doom threshold is actually 11. We'll have to keep that in mind. And as for our starting act, once it decides to focus, there we are. Act 1A, Journey Across the Bridge. You realize now that you are no longer in the Dreamlands or the waking world, but somewhere else entirely. A Stygian void wherein dwells the Weaver of the Cosmos. It is not just your world at stake, but the Dreamlands as well. Each location is connected to each location above and below it. We've done a slightly different layout with the locations. Objective. If each investigator is at the bottommost location, they may spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance, and we need 6 clues. Last up, the ladies are going to move over to the map, so let's join them over there. With anything that calls for a straight line, I've done an L-shaped layout, so this will be our bottommost location, this location down here. We'll take a look at the backside of the Great Web. It'll be the same for all of these locations. Otherworld and extra-dimensional. Long, scintillating strands of gossamer web fill the endless pit below the Sea of Pitch. The great work of the spiders is nearly complete. Flips into Shroud of 1, 2 clues. As an additional cost to investigate this location, you must either spend 1 action or place 1 doom on this location. Okay, so let's get the 2 clues out for that. And then we are all set to get into this scenario, so I think we're going to start off with Trish, and we're going to stay right here at the map. For Trish's action 1, we are going to spend 4 resources to play out the aforementioned Dr. Milan. While I truly pray that this nightmare is just a singular abomination, I must admit that I am exhilarated by the possibility that this is but one specimen of a new genus. Of course, 1 health, 2 sanity on soak. So that's Trish's action 1. Action 2, she is going to investigate, and she's going to put a doom on the Great Web. So we are at a shroud of 6 because of the High Priestess 2 to 1. Trish is up 5. That's a -1, so Trish will get a clue and a resource back. And then for action 3, There was nothing on here preventing moving while there's clues there. Nope. So Trish is going to move down to the next great web. We'll leave that last clue for Sister Mary to grab. She'll be at a 3 to a 1, and I didn't want to waste either of my big clue grabbers. So our next great web is the same thing again. So we'll get the 2 clues out for that. That will do it for Trish. Sister Mary's action 1 is going to be the aforementioned investigation. She's up 2 on this test. I'll put the doom out in a second once this test is over. With a +1. So we'll flip the doom. Sister Mary will grab the clue. Then action 2, she's going to move down to another web-woven island. And action 3, what is she going to do for action 3? She's going to be at a 2 to a 1. So I think instead Sister Mary's going to clean herself out of resources to play out Greta Wagner the Purifier with iron and salt, with water and fire. So Greta Wagner now joins the group. That'll do it for Sister Mary. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, first turn of the game, so we have no enemies in play at this point, which means we can reset everything. And then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Trish gains 1 resource and goes to 3. Trish is our lead investigator, by the way. I didn't mention that at the top. Sister Mary gains 1 resource. Trish will draw Eon Chart, level 4. 2 cost to play, lore, agility, wildcard on commit. Uses 3 secrets. During your turn, exhaust Eon Chart and spend a secret to choose and take 2 of the following actions in any order. Move, evade, or investigate. Sister Mary will draw another copy of Greta Wagner that we don't need to see right now. Mythos phase, first doom on the agenda, but we're up to 3 because of the 2 doom that we put on the first great web-woven island. Trish will draw Spider of Leng. Oh, fun. 3/4/3. Forced. When the enemy phase ends, add 1 swarm of spiders to each card to each swarm of spiders enemy in play. If there are no swarm of spider enemies in play, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a swarm of spiders enemy and spawn it at Spider of Leng's location with no swarm cards. Sister Mary will draw a Grey Weaver. Oh, great. 4/5/3. Prey, lowest agility, hunter. While Grey Weaver is ready, each investigator at its location cannot take move actions. Wonderful. And just to make matters worse, Sister Mary can't take the resources she would need to be able to... Sister Mary can't take the resources she would need to blast these enemies with a storm of spirits. Which means I might... Okay, so that's a big problem right off the bat. The question now is, how do I get around it? Sister Mary's a combat of 4, which would be even with the Grey Weaver. This is not good. Not a good way to start the scenario for sure. Especially with Sister Mary with the physical trauma. Well. I think our first order of business is going to be to try to evade these enemies. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to start down in Trish's play area in the investigation phase. Action 1, Trish is going to try to evade the Spider of Leng. She's going to commit Eureka. She's going to commit Eureka to go up 2. I'm going to look at Sister Mary's hand, but I don't think she's going to commit. She is not. So Trish is up to... Wait a minute. There are -3s in the bag. No. We're not going to commit for now. I'm tempted to use daring, but I'm probably going to need that. Assuming this goes haywire, I'm probably going to need that for one of Sister Mary's tests. So Trish is up 2. A 0 gets us away from the Spider of Lang, and Trish will get to look at the top 3 cards of her library for a card. So first up we'll find, and I've got a plan, which is a 3 cost to play, lore, combat, and commit. Now let's bring that up and take a look at it. Actually, we'll take a look at the card I keep. Second up, Backstab. That's actually pretty tempting. And Pathfinder. Ooh, we got some good choices here. The one card I don't want right now is I've Got a Plan. That's the one card I know I don't want right now. Backstab I might be a little bit happier about seeing later. I think for now I am going to take Pathfinder. We'll take a look at Pathfinder once I get done shuffling this up. Right, we'll give that a cut. And we'll take a look at Pathfinder. 3 cost to play, agility on commit. Fast action, during your turn, if you're not exhausted with any enemies, exhaust Pathfinder to move to a connecting location. Okay, so now the question becomes, do we take both clues off of the... Do we take both clues off the location and trust Sister Mary to be able to give the Grey Weaver the slip? Because Sister Mary is going to be starting even and potentially up 3. Oh, I almost forgot for the end of the round, since I'm horrible about remembering that. Bless token going into the bag for Sister Mary's special ability. Here's what I'm going to do to help me remember that a little bit more. I'm going to put a Bless token on top of Sister Mary's deck. Yes, technically it's not supposed to go in the bag until the upkeep phase. So maybe what I'll do... I'm just trying to make sure I pay attention to it. But I'll figure something out with that. Anyway, action 2 will be to investigate. I am going to put a Doom out on the Great Web that they're at. Let's see what happens when we... After the test, I'll decide what I want to do. If I want to trust Sister Mary to evade the Grey Weaver, or just have Trish grab both clues now and be done with it. Trish is up 5. -2 gives Trish the clue. It'll give her a resource as well, and now I've got a decision to make. Like I said, the question now is, do I take the clue, or do I automatically evade the Grey Weaver? Because I want both of them to be able to Gitfo this round. I don't want both those spiders there, and the Spider Bling's actually going to sit there and not do anything. The only one is the Grey Weaver, and I think... I think we are going to evade the Grey Weaver. Sister Mary can probably grab that clue, and we're going to be only at 5 of 11 Doom. We're only going to be at 5 of 11 Doom by the time Sister Mary puts her investigation down. So for action 3, Trish is going to spend 3 resources to play out her Pathfinder that she just found. Searchers after horrors haunt strange, far places. H.P. Lovecraft, The Picture in the House. We'll immediately exhaust Pathfinder to make our way over to the map. Trish will move down to the next great web on the Pathfinder. We'll take a look at what's on the back of here. Shroud of 4, 2 clues. Forced. After you enter this location, test Will 3. If you fail, you must either choose and discard 1 card from your hand for each point you fail by, or place 1 doom on this location. This section of web shimmers with an otherworldly glow. Trish right now is down 1, but we do have 3 blessed tokens in the bag. Does she also have anything she wants to commit? She does not. So Trish down 1. That's a +1, so Trish is actually safe from that card. And that will do it for Trish. Sister Mary's action 1, she's going to investigate, putting another doom up. Sister Mary's at a 3, 4 to a 1. Sister Mary's up 3. Come on, there we go. Elder Thing. -3. If the skill test fails during an attack against a spider enemy, place 1 doom on that investigator's location. Fortunately, it's neither an attack nor does the test fail, so Sister Mary will get the clue off the location. Action 2, she will move down to the Great Web, Cosmic Web, and have to test Will 3. Sister Mary is up 1. And that's where she's going to test. -2 means she fails. So we either have to discard a card from hand or put a doom out. And that's going to put us at 6, 7 doom heading into the Mythos phase, but we're only 1 location away from where we need to get to advance. And that's each investigator at the bottommost location. I think we're going to put a doom out because I'm expecting to keep it moving next round. And then for action 3, Sister Mary will take a resource. Just to keep my options open at this point of the scenario. This way I'll have 3 resources for a Storm of Spirits if I need it, and if I don't, I can turn Sister Mary's attention to grabbing the clues off of this Great Web, Cosmic Web. Anyway, that will do it for Sister Mary. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, we managed to exhaust both of the enemies up at the location above us. So they will wake up, as will we. I'll reset our actions, and then let's move back up top for the upkeep phase. Trish will gain 1 resource and go to 2. Sister Mary will gain 1 and go to 3. Trish will draw. Stubborn Detective, not the time, Trish. 322. Prey bearer only. Hunter. While Stubborn Detective is at your location, treat your investigators as if her personal text box were blank, except for traits. Despite everything, he still won't believe you had nothing to do with those murders. 1 health on attack. Sister Mary will actually put the blessed token in the bag. We'll have to remember that that one's not in the bag yet. So I'm not going to adjust the counter. Sister Mary will draw. Drawn to the Flame. 0 cost to play. Will Loron commit? Draw the top card of the encounter deck, then discover 2 clues at your location. So now we get to keep the Blessed token in the bag, which means it'll go up to 4. Mythos Phase, our second doom on the agenda, but we're actually at 7 because of the locations. Trish will draw. Crypt Chill. Revelation test Will 4. If you fail, choose and discard an asset you control. If you can't, take 2 damage instead. The supernatural cold threatens to freeze your soul. Unfortunately, on this one, Trish is down 2. And I don't think Sister Mary can give her any help with that, except for the 4 Blessed tokens. Actually, she could, but I think... as much as I don't like it, I think we're probably going to end up losing Pathfinder on this one, unless the Blessed tokens Sister Mary's been putting in the bag are helpful. So down 2. Bless brings her up to even, so that's a pull. There we go. Bless brings her up 2. -1. Okay, so I think we need both of those Blessed tokens to pass the test. So those will stay out of the bag. Because Sacred Covenant says return any number of Blessed tokens to the bag, ignoring their modifiers. So that brings us down to 4, 6, 8. That brings us down to 2 Blesses in the bag. Sister Mary will draw. Swarm of Spiders. 1/1 swarming 2. X equals the number of Swarm of Spiders enemies at this location, including swarm cards. So swarming 2, which means we'll get 2 cards out of Sister Mary's deck as swarms. Okay, good thing I kept my options open for this round. Moving into the investigation phase, Sister Mary, I feel a little bit of weird mythical weather coming up. What say we move down to your play area and see what that weather might be? I've done everything but tell you guys what Sister Mary's first card play of the turn is going to be. So now let's remove the everything but and blast us with it and get a Storm of Spirits out. We're going to target the Swarm of Spiders with that. Sister Mary is going to be up 3 on the attack. As tempting as it would be to commit Daring to this one, A, I probably don't need it, and B, a retaliate for 3 damage would probably be a terrible idea. So Sister Mary is up 3. -2 means everything at the location goes toodaloo. So Trish's Stubborn Detective goes away. The Swarm of Spiders is very much defeated. And the 2 swarms go to the bottom of Sister Mary's deck. That's action 1. Action 2, Sister Mary is going to risk a Drawn to the Flame here. I'm not going to do a damage to Greta to discover what clue here, because we're getting both clues off the location right now anyway, barring anything unusual. We live on a placid island of ignorance in the midst of black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. H.P. Lovecraft, The Call of Cthulhu. Alright, so we'll draw the top card of the encounter deck. We will draw... good old Ancient Evils. Revelation, place 1 doom on the agenda. This effect can cause the current agenda to advance. Dark forces stir against you. If you don't act quickly, a sinister plot will be fulfilled. Fortunately, another Doom on the agenda is not going to cause us to advance because we're at 8 Doom right now of 11. Remember, we have +2 Doom, +2 per investigator Doom threshold. So that gets us the last clue on the location. Action 3 will take Sister Mary over to the map. Action 3 for Sister Mary is going to bring us down to the bottommost Great Web location. We'll take a look at this. Prison of Cocoons. Forced. After you enter this location, test Agility 3. If you fail, you must either lose 1 action for each point you failed by, or place a Doom on this location. Sister Mary is at even, and we're not going to commit. I'll get the 2 clues out here. Sister Mary is at even. Tentacle touched. So Sister Mary's going to place a Doom on the location because I don't feel like losing her entire next turn. That will do it for Sister Mary. Trish's turn is, we're declaring the start of Trish's turn, and then we've got a fast act, and then we've got an open player window to Pathfinder her into the Prison of Cocoons, which means each investigator is now at the bottommost location, so we get to spend the requisite number of clues, which was 6, to advance. The Edge of Dreams. Read Scenario Interlude, The Spider Queen, and the Campaign Guide. Then advance to Act 2A, The Weaver of the Cosmos. Well, let's go back to the phone and get that queued up. Just checking my email real quick. Okay, nothing of note here. Here we go.
Scenario Interlude, The Spider Queen. The Spider Queen 1. You climb a precipice of stone and behold the enormity of the spider's bridge and the thing astride it. Atlak Naka, god of spiders, accompanied by its horde of weavers. The many-legged monstrosities continuously intertwine strands of cosmic web, toiling endlessly with nightmarish fervor. As the awful creatures weave each thread, you feel reality and dreams distort, collide, and crash together. In the distance, waves of dream break upon the rocks of reality, and reality collapses upon itself into the surging, amorphous dream. You can barely comprehend the strange, shifting vistas. A sticky web hangs off the side of your vantage point, like a silken ladder leading down to your doom. Check campaign log. If Randolph survived the descent and the Black Cat knows the truth, proceed to the Spider Queen 2. Otherwise, if Randolph survived the descent, skip to the Spider Queen 3. If Randolph did not survive the descent, skip to the Spider Queen 4.
Okay, Randolph did not survive the descent. So, we are moving to the Spider Queen 4.
The Spider Queen 4. The creature is close to completing its design. Its legs move about swiftly, spinning thread after thread of cosmic silk with unearthly determination. It scarcely even recognizes your presence. Perhaps if you can sever its legs, or tear apart the webbing on which it stands. Remove each location from the game except for the bottommost location. Shift that location upward so it is at the top of the play area. Shuffle the remaining set-aside Great Web locations and place 7 of them in a circle, along with the investigator's location, as the topmost location in the circle. Until the end of the scenario, each location is connected to each location next to it, clockwise or counterclockwise from it. Assemble Atlak Naka by performing the following steps in order. Find the double-sided Atlak Naka card and flip it to the side that only has art on it. Arrange the 4 legs of Atlak Naka enemies next to it as depicted in the following diagram. Place the assembled Atlak Naka in the center of the play area between all 8 locations, so one corner of each legs of Atlak Naka enemy touches a different location. Shuffle each set-aside copy of the Spinner of Darkness into the encounter deck, along with the encounter discard pile. Read the rules of Atlak Naka as follows.
As usual, I'm going to shut the camera off so I can do all of that. We'll go through how Atlak Naka works when we come back in, and then Trish will have all 3 of her actions remaining since we used Pathfinder to get her down to the Great Web. We are losing 5 Doom, thankfully, from these 3 locations leaving the game. we're still going to have the 1 on the Prison of Cocoons. So we're going to be flying back down to 4. But I'm rambling at this point, so let me turn the camera off, get all of this set up, and then we'll come back to go through how Atlach Naka works and continue with the investigation phase. Here's our first look at Atlach Naka. I do apologize a little bit for some of the glare. The dice are not an official part of Atlach Naka, but I will be making sense of those in a second. So let's zoom out so we can see the great web as we've placed it. We've got the 7 locations placed around in the rest of the U shape, plus our Prison of Cocoons. That's our topmost location. So now for a quick explanation of how Atlach Naka is going to work. So each Legs of Atlach Naka enemy is going to be considered to be at the location its corner is physically bordering, or in this case, or in the case of what I'm doing, whichever location the die is on. So that's what the dice are for. So instead of moving the entire card with all the damage tokens on it, I'm going to keep the dice on the board and then keep the cards off shot. Where I've got a number where each got a frog in my throat this morning. Each die is going to correlate to one of the different Legs of Atlach Naka enemies, as I've got a roster of dice off shot. So I'm going to track all of the damage for each leg on that card, or on that card off shot. I'll use the die to move Atlach Naka around. Atlach Naka, the center card in each Legs of Atlach Naka enemy, should remain in the same formation at all times, even if one card is removed from the formation. If one card moves, all cards in the formation must likewise move. So because of this, and we'll come back to this in a couple minutes, as a result, Legs of Atlach Naka cards cannot be moved or be moved except by enemies that instruct you to spin Atlach Naka. And again, we'll come back to that. If you're instructed to spin Atlach Naka 1 or more times, rotate all the cards in the center, each remaining Legs of Atlach Naka card as well as the center card, in the indicated direction such that each of the Legs of Atlach Naka enemies moves in clockwise that many different locations. Which, once again, we're going to use the dice for that instead. So now we're going to move the dice out to the representative corners so that this part of the explanation will make a little bit more sense. Before all of the Legs of Atlach Naka leave shot, though, I will go through one of these cards. So, Ancient One, Spider Elite. Massive. This enemy can't make attacks of opportunity, and X is the shroud value for the enemy's location. X, 3 per investigator, 3. That being 6 because we have 2 investigators. Forced. When you would evade this enemy, instead of exhausting it, choose an enemy at your location. This enemy cannot attack the chosen investigator this round. So when an effect would instruct us to spin Atlach Naka, let's say we're instructed to spin Atlach Naka twice. For instance, what that would mean is essentially leg 1 would move there, leg 2 would move up to this location, leg 4 would move here, and leg 3 would move over here. Hopefully that makes sense. You can feel free to ask for further clarification about that in the comments section down below. So now I'll move the starting legs, move the dice back to their starting locations. That brings us to the new act. Once it decides to focus, Act 2A, the Weaver of the Cosmos. Atlach Naka is distracted by its mindless task. Now is your chance. Action, spend 1 clue to deal 3 damage to an Ancient One enemy at your location. Forced, when the Mythos phase begins, reveal a random token from the Chaos bag. If its modifier is negative, spin Atlach Naka clockwise X times, where X is the token's negative modifier. Objective, if 4 Legs of Atlach Naka are in the victory display, advance. I did kind of gloss over the fact that each of the Legs of Atlach Naka has victory 1. So hopefully everything with Atlach Naka makes sense now. But at any rate, we're back to the investigation phase, and Trish has 3 actions. So for action 1, that's a Shroud of 4 right now. I think we're going to go ahead and investigate, and we'll use a deduction to try to pull the last clue, to pull both those clues off. I knew I had seen this symbol before. I must warn the others before it is too late. So Trish right now is at a 5-6 because of the High Priestess, 8-4 Trish is up 4. We've got 2 blessed tokens in the bag, which I don't think I'm likely to need. A -1 will give Trish both clues off of the Great Web, off the Prison of Cocoons. Action 2, Trish will move over with leg 1. We'll take a look at what's on here. The Great Web, Tangled Web. Forced. When the Shrouded 2, 4 clues. Forced. When the investigation phase ends, if there's at least 1 investigator at this location, place 1 doom on this location. A mess of thick webs connect each of the islands which hang in this bottomless void. So basically we want to be able to get the clues there and Gitfo, which Trish is not able to do right now. I did almost forget to give her resource from Milan, which I'll take care of that now. She'll be up to 3 resources. All right, and then action 3. I think we're going to move her down to this Great Web. Let's see what's on the back of this one. Tangled Web again. So we're going to end up with a doom on this location, but there's nothing we can do there. Okay, so that'll do it for Trish. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the legs of Atlak Naka, as you can imagine, are not hunters, so they won't be doing any kind of moving. So we'll reset everything here. This should have a doom on the location because we have an investigator there. And now let's move back up top for the upkeep phase. Trish gains 1 resource and goes to 4. Sister Mary gains 1 resource. Trish will draw. Plan of action. Wildcard on commit. If the skill test is during or before the first action of the turn, plan of action gains will agility. If the skill test is between the first and third actions of the turn, draw 1 card before it succeeds, or if it succeeds. If the skill test is during or after the third action of this turn, plan of action gains combat lore. Sister Mary will put a blessed token in the bag. Once again, I'm shortcutting that. Let me make sure. We'll be at 3 blessed tokens in the bag, assuming this doesn't force us to pull blessed tokens out. Sister Mary will draw. Evidence. 1 cost to play. Fast. Play after you defeat an enemy. Discover 1 clue at your location, and it's got 2 lore on commit. So we do get to keep the blessed token in the bag, which means we go up to 3 for the end of the investigation, or for the end of the round. Normally, I would transition right into the Mythos phase, but because of the nature of the act needing us to reveal a random token to see if we spin Atlak Naka, this is the one scenario where we actually have to move over to the map for the Mythos phase. Alright, so we're revealing a random token from the bag and spinning Atlak Naka if the modifier is negative. The modifier is not negative, so that stays in the bag, which also means the legs both stay put. Trish will draw. Endless Weaving. Revelation, choose a spider enemy in play, which the legs are all spider enemies. If it's engaged with an investigator, it makes an immediate attack along with each of its swarm and host cards. Otherwise, place 1 doom on its location. If there are no spider enemies in play, which there are, we're going to choose leg... Let's choose leg 3. I don't want to compound our doom troubles at this point. Sister Mary will draw. Caught in a Web. Revelation, put Caught in a Web into play in your threat area. You get -1 agility and can't take more than 1 move action each round. Action, test combat 3. If you succeed, discard Caught in a Web. Sister Mary would be even testing against that. Actually, no, she'd be up 1 because of Greta. So that will do it for the Mythos phase. Investigation phase now, and... What to do? I think... Trish's turn is going to leave us right here at the map. Before Trish's turn starts, she's going to Pathfinder up to the Tangled Web with leg 1. Action 1, Trish is going to investigate. She's up, what is that, a Shroud of 2? She's up 5 from Milan, 6 from High Priestess. Trish is up 4. Where's the bag? It's back here. -1 gives her a clue, and because of her special ability, she's going to discover a second clue since there is an enemy at her location. In actions 2 and 3, we are going to be putting up a little bit more doom, but we are going to spend 2 clues for 2 actions to take out leg 1. So leg 1 has now been defeated. That's it for Trish. Sister Mary's turn. Let's see. Sister Mary is going to... I want to try to get rid of this caught in a web. I don't need to just yet, I don't think. So for action 1, she's going to move over with leg 3. We'll see what's on the back of here. We find another web-woven island with 2 clues. As an additional cost, you must either spend an action or place a doom on this location. It's a Shroud of 1, so attacking one of the legs of Atlach-Naka is not completely out of the question. Action 2, I don't want to waste to read the signs on a Shroud 1. Plus, Sister Mary's going to be up 3 on her investigation. So I think that's what we're going to go with. We're going to go with an investigation, put Sister Mary up 3. That's a +1, so that'll give her a clue. And then action 3, I think Sister Mary is going to try to get rid of this caught in a web. She's up 1, and I think that's where she's going to test. A 0 will get her rid of caught in a web, so Sister Mary is now mobile once again. That will do it for Sister Mary. That will do it for the investigation phase. We also put a doom on the Great Web Tangled Web, since Trish is still there at the end of the investigation phase. Enemy phase, Sister Mary takes a damage and a horror from leg 3 being there. So now we'll reset everything. And then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Trish gains 1 resource and goes to... I don't think she gained a resource from Milan when she did the investigation earlier in the turn. I'm going to give her an extra resource. So Trish will actually be at 6. She was at 5 from Milan, but +1 for now is 6. Sister Mary gains 1, goes to 2. I'll remember the Bless token this time. Trish will draw. Eureka, we saw this earlier. Sister Mary will throw the Bless token in the bag now, and then draw. A Machete, 3 costs to play, combat on commit. Action, fight. You get +1 combat for the attack, and if the attacked enemy is the only enemy engaged with you, this attack deals +1 damage. We're definitely going to need to get some firepower out, but before we even talk about that, we need to move over to the map for the Mythos phase. Before we do any of our normal stuff, we do have to pull a token from the bag to see if Atlak Naka spins. Atlak Naka, that's a 3, so Atlak Naka is spinning 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Alright, that's moving everything clockwise. Now we go into the Mythos phase proper. Doom on the agenda goes up to 4, but we're at 8 in play because of the locations. Trish will draw. A web spinner. Spawn any empty location. Aloof. Forced. At the end of the round, if web spinner is ready, place 1 Doom on web spinner's location. I'm going to put that down here with the plan of sending Sister Mary after it this round because I don't want to let the Doom start piling up on that, so I'm going to send Sister Mary to deal with that right away. Sister Mary will draw. Another web spinner. Oh, delightful. Well, I think we're actually going to send that down to Trish's, down to the Great Web down here. That way we can hopefully lock it down. Unfortunately, we're getting a lot of locations in play anyway. Right. Okay, I think we're going to have to wait on playing the machete out in that case. So we're into the investigation phase now, and I think we'll start off with Sister Mary right here at the map. Action 1, Sister Mary is going to move down to this great web, and we'll see what's on the back here. We will find Shroud of Great Web, Vast Web. Spawn of Shroud of 3, 4 clues. As an action, if it's not Act 1 and there are one per or fewer clues on this location, move. Move to the location directly across from this location. So that would move us to the Great Web, Tangled Web. Action 2, Sister Mary is going to engage the web spinner. And then action 3, she's going to punch it. She's base up 2. Unfortunately, I need the Vicious Blow to do the extra damage. I hate wasting it on a Shroud 2, especially when I know... Well, I'm getting a little metagamey on this one. I know there's an enemy coming where I'm going to wish I had something like this. So that's going to put Sister Mary 4. 6, that's going to put her up 4. But I need the 2 damage. I need to be able to take this thing out now. Let's go ahead and resolve the test. I'll put the 4 clues out. I'm probably going to pull at least one of them off the location, possibly 2. That's a 0, so the web spinner there is very defeated. And for 1 resource, this is going to be a little bit of a lengthy window. So for 1 resource, I am going to play Evidence to discover a clue at my location, just as I suspected. Then I'm going to deal damage to Greta and exhaust her to gain another clue. So of the 4 clues that we originally had on the location, once we push that one through and grab it off the ground, there we are. Two are staying on the location, and Sister Mary's pocketing 2 of them. And that will do it for Sister Mary. Trish is going to move back down to this tangled web. Actually, for Pathfinder. I was about to say for Action 1, but no, let's not be an idiot, Phoenix. We've got a free move available to us. which we're going to need because action 1 is going to be an investigate. At a 6 to a 2, Trish is up 4. -1 is going to give her the clue. And then Trish is going to evade the web spinner. I don't want to compound our doom trouble. Especially since we are... Are we? I was going to say, are we severing another leg of Atlak Naka? Because we've got the clues to do it, and Sister Mary's got the clues to nail another one. Which is only going to leave us leg 3 that we have to run down. What would that bring us up to? That would bring us up to 2, 4, 8. That would bring us up to 9 doom in play, but it is only agenda 1. Although that doom stays and gives the next agenda a head start. Which I'm not in love with that idea. Yeah, like I said, I'm not remotely in love with that idea. So... I think for action 2, we're going to spend 1 clue to nail leg 4 for 3 damage. So leg 4 has 3 damage on it. And then for action 3, Trish is going to move down to this great web. Maybe if leg 3 lands on her, Trish can take it out. Let's see what's at this. What's at this great web, though? We find web stairs. Shroud of 5, 2 clues. Forced. After this location is revealed, place 1 doom on it. Strands of sticky threads, like rungs of a ladder, ascend into the glittering violet radiance that envelops this cavernous void. So we're putting a doom out there anyway. And we get 2 clues there. That will do it for Trish. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the web spinner is exhausted, and the other 3 legs of Atlak Naka are not hunters. So we'll move that. We'll reset all of that. And then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Trish gains 1 resource, not a horror. Trish gains a resource and goes to 7. Sister Mary gains 1 and goes to 2. Greta should be unexhausted, as should Pathfinder. Trish will draw. Esoteric Atlas. 3 cost to play, agility on commit. Uses 4 secrets. As an action, spend a secret and exhaust Esoteric Atlas to choose a revealed location that is exactly 2 connections away from your location. Move to that location. Helping a little bit more with mobility. Sister Mary will draw. Rite of Sanctification. 0 cost to play, lore on commit. Seal up to 5 blessed tokens. If Rite of Sanctification has no tokens sealed on it, discard it. As a reaction, when an investigator at your location plays a card, exhaust Rite of Sanctification and release a cast token sealed on it. Reduce the cost of that card by 2. Speaking of blessed tokens, I didn't put it on top of Sister Mary's deck, but I will remember to put it in the bag, and we are up to 5 blessed tokens in the bag. I'll give that a quick shake-up, and now let's move over to the map for the Mythos phase. First order of business is revealing a chaos token from the bag to see if we spin Atlak Naka. We are not spinning Atlak Naka, which is not completely unfortunate, just mostly unfortunate. It's going to require a move action probably to run something down. That web spinner should be unexhausted, by the way. right, so now we're up to 5 doom on the agenda, but we're at 9. Actually, we're at 10 thanks to locations. Trish will draw. Obscuring fog. Attached to your revelation, attached to your location. Limit 1 per location. Attached location gets +2 shroud. Forced. After attached location is successfully investigated, discard obscuring fog. Actually, at the end of the round, he was ready, so because everything readies there, so yeah, he would have a doom there. Which would that have caused us to advance? 3, 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That actually would have caused us to advance. So, right. Yep, that would have caused us to advance. So hang on a second before we put anything out. So that doom stays. This gets refreshed. It's possible that this might cause us to reshuffle the agenda deck, or the encounter deck. I may give it a reshuffle because I didn't realize that that was at the end of the round. Sister Mary, I think, needs to try to come take that thing out pretty quick, though. A breath of fresh air. There is no air in this interdimensional space. Even in the bleak pits of the underworld, you sensed cold wind coiling through the depths or warm, noxious gas rising from the sea of pitch. But here, there's nothing. No air, no atmosphere, no life whatsoever, save for you and the spiders whose work nears completion. Just as you were contemplating how anything can exist at all in this awful location between worlds, you hear a sound like the stretching and tearing of fabric. Then a rush of billowing air erupts all around you, filling the vastness of the realm like dust in a vacuum. The wind must be coming from somewhere, and that can only mean one thing. Worlds are starting to merge. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the deck. Oh joy. So I'll give that a shuffle. Good thing I remembered that. I'm just giving the encounter deck a shuffle off camera. Right, then we're all clear there. Taking a look at our new agenda. Agenda 2A, a trail of twists. In this void between realities, there can be no hope or joy. Just the ceaseless toiling of spiders performing their great work, closer and closer to completion with each passing moment. +2 doom, +2 per investigator doom threshold, so it's 13, and still not removing doom from locations in play. Which means we're at 13 to advance, but we're actually at 6 effectively because of locations. Now Trish will draw Spider of Lang. Oh, delightful. So that goes to Trish. That actually engages with Trish. Sister Mary will draw the Grey Weaver again. Oh, joy. This is a big problem. So, right. Investigation phase, we're in a very bad way. Well, we're not in a very bad way, but we just pulled 2 very dangerous enemies out. First up, I think we're going to go to Sister Mary, and we're going to stay right here at the map after I change my battery. Sister Mary needs to give this Grey Weaver the slip, like now. The only question is, where does she land? Does she move up to the Great Web here and hope Leg 2 lands on her? That might not be a terrible idea, actually. So, with that in mind, Action 1, Sister Mary is going to try to evade the Grey Weaver. And I'm going to commit daring to the attack. Yes, I'm taking to the evasion. Yes, I'm risking an alert attack on this one, but I need the card draw because I need to get Sister Mary either some resources or a better weapon. So Sister Mary is up 3 trying to evade. That's a -1, so Sister Mary will give the Grey Weaver the slip. Actually, we're going to draw a card as well from that. So Sister Mary will draw a 1-2 punch. 2 cost to play, combat on commit. Fight, getting +1 combat for the attack. If you succeed, you may fight that enemy again. You get +2 combat and deal +1 damage for that attack. Not completely unwelcome. Action 2, Sister Mary is going to move up to the Great Web-Woven Island. Then action 3, she's going to take a resource and go to 3. That will do it for Sister Mary. Trish, similarly, needs to give the Spider of Lang the slip. She's at a 4. So for action 1, Trish is going to evade. We're going to try to evade. She's going to commit Eureka and Plan of Action. So that's going to put Trish up. Actually, Trish is going to keep Plan of Action because we might end up needing that later. Yeah. So 4, 5 to 3. Actually, no, I take that back. We are going to commit Plan of Action. That's going to put Trish up 3, and there are -3s in the bag. I've got a little bit of a plan here. I need to take that. I really need to take that web spinner out. Is what I really need to do. But I'm getting ahead of myself there. 4, 5, 6. Actually, 4. Yeah, 4, 5, 6. Trish is up 3, and she's going to get 2 cards if she succeeds. Elder Sign. Trish's Elder Sign is a +2. If this is an investigation, which it's not, you may choose any revealed location. You are now investigating as if you were at that location instead. Except we're not, so the Spider of Lang is evaded. We're going to resolve the draw first from Plan of Action. So Trish will draw. Actually, wait a second. During or before the first action, so never mind. I would have gotten another agility. I'm an idiot, so we'll actually use that for the first card of Eureka, which, as we saw, is Trish's Shadow Agents, which can absolutely get bent. I do not want those. Next up, another Plan of Action, or True Understanding. We're actually going to take True Understanding here. Wild card on commit. Commit only to a skill test from an ability printed on a scenario card. If the test is successful, discover 1 clue at your location. Then those get shuffled back in. Give this a quick shuffle on camera. Okay. All right. Then we're going to Pathfinder up to the Great Web, Tangled Web. So we still have 2 actions left. The second of which will be able to play Occult Lexicon. Limit 1 per deck. Forced after it enters play, search your bonded cards for 3 copies of Bloodright. Add 1 to your hand and shuffle the other 2 into your deck. When Occult Lexicon leaves play, find each of these copies of Bloodright, even if they're out of play, and remove them and set them aside out of play. So that's 2 resources. We'll take a quick look at one of the Bloodrights because we're basically playing it, but no, we are playing it. So those 2 go into the deck, and here's our other copy of Bloodright. 0 cost to play, lore, will, combat on commit. Bonded with Occult Lexicon. Draw 2 cards, discard up to 2 cards from your deck, or from your hand. For each card discarded this way, you may either gain a resource or spend a resource to deal 1 damage to an enemy at your location. This action does not provoke attacks of opportunity. So we'll give them a quick shuffle, and then we'll go right into action 3, which will be playing the aforementioned Blood Rite. One, two. As I mentioned, action 3 is playing Blood Rite. So card 1 is another Blood Rite, which is probably staying in Trish's hand, and another Pathfinder. Ooh, we got some good stuff here. I think we're going to bin 21er Bust and an Esoteric Atlas. Then we're going to spend 2 resources to kill the Web Spinner. So the Web Spinner can most definitely get bent. Yes, I'm putting another Doom up on the... Yes, I'm putting another Doom on the Tangled Web, but I need that thing dead way too much. So that'll do it for Trish. That'll do it for the investigation phase. We'll put another Doom on the Tangled Web. Enemy phase, the Spider of Lang is exhausted and not a hunter. The Grey Weaver is exhausted and is a hunter. So we'll reset everything here. I want to try to stay a couple locations ahead of that Grey Weaver with Sister Mary if I can. But we also need to worry about taking out these legs of Atlak Naka at some point. And then we're going to move back up top for the upkeep phase. Trish also took 1 and 1 from the leg of Atlak Naka that was still there. Then she'll gain a resource and go to 4, as will Sister Mary. Trish will draw. Leo De Luca, the Louisiana Lion. 5 cost to play, lore on commit. You may take an additional action during your turn. 2 and 2 on soak. Sister Mary will draw. Another 1-2 punch, which we saw earlier. Now let's move over to the map for the Mythos phase. If Atlak Naka stays put, we should be able to take out 2 legs this turn. But let's see what happens with Atlak Naka. Let's see if we spin her. Zero means Atlak Naka is once more staying put. Now we get into Mythos phase proper. First Doom on the new agenda, but we're actually up to 1, 4, 5, 6, 7 Doom in play. Actually, 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're actually up to 8 of 13 Doom already. We need to keep this moving along. Trish will draw. Endless Weaving. Choose a spider enemy in play. If it's engaged with an enemy, it makes an immediate attack along with each of its swarm and host cards. Otherwise, place a Doom on its location. There are spider enemies in play, and we're going to choose Leg of Atlak Naka 4 to attack Trish for 1 and 1. I'd rather not compound our Doom troubles right now because we've got way too much in play for comfort, and we need to get ready to land on Atlak Naka like a bomb. Sister Mary will draw. Crypt Chill, Revelation Test Will 4. If you fail, choose and discard an asset you control. If you can't, take 2 damage instead. We saw this earlier, and somebody decided to be an idiot and forget about his Murder Nun's Bless tokens. Let's see, do we have anything we can commit to this? Well, we can replay Greta if we lose her. I'd rather not, though. Sister Mary is at even. Zero means we're all clear of that. So we survived the Crypt Chill. That was fortunate. Okay. Into the investigation phase now, and let's start off with Trish, and we'll stay right here at the map. Action 1, we're going to investigate. Trish is at 4, 5, 6 to 2. She's up 4, and that's where she's going to test. Zero will get her a clue. Actually, it'll get her 2 clues. We'll use the ability there. Action 2, she's going to spend a clue to take out leg 4. So leg 4 has been defeated as well. Let's see. Action 3. I think we're going to play a second copy of Pathfinder and exhaust them both to end up here at the Prison of Cocoons, which means Trish has to test Agility 3. She's up 1, and that's where she will test. Bless means Trish is up 3. -2. So we didn't need the Bless token for that, which means I'll exhaust Sister Mary's Sacred Covenant to keep it in the bag. Alright, that will do it for Trish. Sister Mary. That's a clue or a connecting location. Action 1. Sister Mary is going to move over to the Prison of Cocoons. Unlike Trish, Sister Mary is even. That's where she will test. Yeah. -1. We either lose an action for each point we fail by, or place a doom on the location. Placing a doom right now would put us at 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of 13. I think we can place the doom. Because for actions 2 and 3, I'll use 2 of Sister Mary's clues to take out leg 2. And then I'll exhaust Greta and do another damage to her to pull a clue off of the Great Web. That'll do it for Sister Mary. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the Grey Weaver is a hunter looking for Sister Mary, so he'll move to the Web-Woven Island. The Spider of Lang is, when the enemy phase ends, add 1 swarm card to each swarm of spiders. Okay, so the enemy phase is about to end, which means we need to search for... Actually, we should have had a swarm of spiders with 1 swarm in play. So we'll just have the swarm of spiders in play with no swarm cards now that I'm remembering. Let's see. Now I kind of want to see Adlak Naka spin 3 times. Because now we can probably land on that last leg. And well, I'm not going to metagame it that much, but there was another thought I was having. I'm going to swallow that for the time being. Anywho, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. Give that one more shuffle and a cut. We're all good there, so now we'll start resetting everything. And then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. Trish gains 1 resource and goes to 2. Sister Mary gains 1 and goes to 5. Trish draws. Quick thinking. Ooh, this could be very helpful. Wildcard on commit. If the skill test is successful by 2 or more, after it resolves, you may immediately take an action as if it were your turn. This action does not count toward the number of actions you can take each turn. Sister Mary will draw. Runic Axe. 4 cost to play, combat on commit. Customizable, uses 4 charges. Refresh one of these charges at the start of each round. Action, fight. You get +1 combat for this attack. Before this attack, you may spend any number of charges to imbue the axe with that many different inscriptions. Either accuracy to get an additional +2 combat for the attack, or power to deal +1 damage. End of the round, blessed token going in the bag, and Sister Mary goes up, and we go up to 7 blessed tokens in the bag. Now let's move over to the map for the Mythos phase. In an ideal world, Atlak spins 3 times to get up here, but I can deal with 2 to get her down here because I do have 2 Pathfinders for Trish. But let's see how many times Atlak Naka is spinning. Atlak Naka is not spinning. That's unfortunate. Now Mythos phase proper, Doom on the agenda goes up to 2, but we're at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of 13. Trish will draw. Web Spinner, which goes to any empty location. We are gonna have to take this out no matter where we put it. So I think we're gonna put the Web Spinner up here at the Tangled Web. Then Sister Mary will draw. Obscuring Fog, which basically does literal nothing to us except make it harder to hit the legs of Atlak Naka, but we won't be attacking it via traditional methods. Revelation, attached to your location, limit 1 per location. Attached location gets +2 Shroud. Forced, after attached location is successfully investigated, discard Obscuring Fog. So we do need to start working toward, I think we're going to have to go meet Atlak Naka. Plus we're in a situation where if Atlak Naka spins 3 times, she lands right on us. We are going to have to start moving a little bit though. But we're into the investigation phase now, and Trish's turn is going to leave us right here at the map. Trish is going to exhaust one of her Pathfinders to move into the Great Web. Action 1, she's into the Great Web Tangled Web. Action 1, she's going to investigate. Add a 6 to a 2. She's up 4. Probably grabbing both clues off the location. -1, we'll give her both clues off the location. I'm going to use her special ability to grab both of them off the location. Action 2, we just pulled another copy of Bloodwraith, didn't we? Yes, we did. I also get a resource from Milan. So we're going to play another copy of Bloodwraith out with the plan of taking out that Web Spinner. 2 cards for that. First up, Pilfer, 4 cost to play, Lore, Agility on commit. Investigate using Agility instead of Lore. If you succeed, discover 2 additional clues at your location. That's probably discard fodder at this point. And Deduction level 2. This is not as much discard fodder. We saw this earlier in the scenario. Second card to discard, I think. Actually, I could have committed quick thinking to that test, but too late to worry about that now. I think we are going to discard. I don't think I really need Leo at this point, to be perfectly honest. So I'm going to discard Leo and pay 2 resources to take out that Web Spinner. So the Web Spinner is defeated. And then what do I want to do for action 3? I don't think I can avoid the fact that we're going to put another Doom up. Especially since I at least want Sister Mary to be here. And if there's at least one investigator here. So I think Trish is just going to take a resource and set up for next turn. That will do it for Trish. Sister Mary is absolutely moving to the Tangled Web with Trish. I want to keep her 2 locations ahead of the Grey Weaver. And then for action 2, she's going to play out her machete, which is all kinds of late to the party. We'll take a quick look at the flavor text, though. Cuts through vines, underbrush, and tentacles equally well. And hopefully spider legs, too, but we'll find that out soon enough. Action 3, Sister Mary will take a... is she going to draw... What's she going to do? Take a resource, or... I think she's going to take a resource, and just in case for some insane reason, we need to play 2 1-2 punches in a round. So that will do it for Sister Mary. That will do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the Grey Weaver's moving toward the Prison of Cocoons. He would be a good reason we need to play 2 1-2 punches. And then at the end of the enemy phase, we are adding a swarm of spiders to this swarm. It'll come from Trish's deck, since she's the lead investigator. Anyway, now we can reset everything. And we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. I also put another Doom up on the Tangled Web, since both Sister Mary and Trish were there, and it only requires at least 1 investigator. Trish will gain 1 resource and go to 3. Sister Mary will gain 1 and go to 4. Trish will draw. Investments, which is basically, I believe the technical term right now is El Hat Garbaggio. 1 cost to play, Lore on Commit. Uses 0 supplies, limit 10 supplies on investments. As an action, exhaust investments to place 1 supply on it. Action, exhaust and discard investments, move all supplies from it to your resource pool as resources. Sister Mary will put the Blessed token in the bag. She will draw. A Blessed Blade level 4. Ooh. 3 cost to play, will combat on commit. Fight with 2 combat for this attack. If the attack is successful, it deals +1 damage. Return each Blessed token revealed during this attack to the Chaos bag. Before revealing Chaos tokens for this attack, you may exhaust Blessed Blade to add 2 Blessed tokens to the Chaos bag. Speaking of adding Blessed tokens to the bag, we now get to keep the 1 in the bag, so now we're at a total of 8. Now let's move over to the map for the Mythos phase. So I'm actually discovering that this is a potential scenario where Sister Mary could be a little bit of a problem with the Blessed tokens gumming up the bag. Let me explain why the Blessed tokens are potentially gumming up the bag, at least in this case. The problem right now is I actually need Atlak Naka to spin. I would prefer to have her spin 3 times to get her up to Sister Mary and Trish, but I can live with twice because I can get Trish down here, and then it's going to cost Sister Mary an action to come down here as well. But the problem with the Blessed tokens right now is because they have a positive modifier to them, they're actually causing Atlak Naka's last leg to stay put. So that is proving to be a little bit of a problem there. But let's bring the bag over and see if we're spinning Atlak Naka this turn. Skull is minus X, where X is minus X, so it is a negative, where X is the highest amount of Doom on a location in play. That's 3 for this Tangled Web, so that is absolutely perfect. Which means Atlak Naka is going to spin 1, 2, 3 times, landing right on top of Sister Mary and Trish. Now into the Mythos phase proper, we put a Doom up on the agenda, so we're at 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 Doom in play. Trish will draw. Ah, yes, of course. Ancient Evils. Had to pop up now. So I believe that's going to bring us to advancing. Let me just double check. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep. We are advancing the agenda. Alright, so let's take a look here. Of stars and webs, a light flashes in the distance beyond strands of ethereal webbing. An explosion thousands of light years away. Radiant light ripples throughout the web bridge. The silken threads reflect the luminescence of a shattered nebula. A brilliant shine burns your pupils. When the glow finally dims, the bridges are splendid with cosmic energy. It is almost over now. Soon the bridge will connect the two worlds, and there will be nothing left but Atlach Naka and its horde. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the deck. Okay. There's a cut. And we'll take a look at our last agenda. Agenda 3A, Realities Interwoven. In the distance, untold horizons away, stars glimmer and burn with the power of countless other worlds. The shimmering strands of web all around you pulse with the same light. This agenda gets +2 Investigator Doom threshold. 11, which means we need 15, and we are already at 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're at 9 of 15. Sister Mary will draw. Sickening Webs, attached to your location. Each spider enemy at attached location gains Retaliate and Alert. Investigators can't move out of attached location. Action, test Combat 3 or Agility 3. If you succeed, discard Sickening Webs. Hopefully, that's not going to be a big problem, but the only way to find out is as we're moving into the investigation phase, and Trish will start that off right here at the map. Actions 1 and 2, Trish is going to spend 2 of her clues to take out leg 3. So the victory display is kind of in a weird place. Where the way I'm representing it is I've got the dice off shot. I've got all 4 pairs of dice there. So that's representing 4 legs of Atlach Naka and the victory display, which means now we advance. We advance the act. The Queen's Wrath. Having severed the wretched spider's legs and unraveled the webs it stood on, you hoped that this would send the thing careening into the endless void below. But as it falls, more thin, jagged legs erupt from below its abdomen, and it grips onto a nearby platform, just barely catching itself. The horrible maw, which extends down the length of its worm-like head, wrenches open. From it emerges a screech like 1,000 nails on a chalkboard. Flip Atlach Naka's center card over to its enemy side. Place it at the location with the most doom on it, or with the most doom in it. Right, unfortunately that's going to, we'll take a look at Atlach Naka's backside, but it is going down to this tangled web, which means we need to get rid of this right now. So taking a look at Atlach Naka the Spider God, 4, 4, 4, 4 per investigator, 4. Massive. Forced. When Atlach Naka leaves a location, if there are no investigators at that location, place 1 doom there. Otherwise, it attacks each investigator at that location. Forced. After you evade Atlach Naka, instead of exhausting it, choose an investigator at your location. It can't attack the chosen investigator this round. Victory 1, 2, and 2. Okay, that's actually kind of a problem. Let me grab a spin down to track Atlach Naka's health, because I don't want to start stacking. I don't want to try to stack damage tokens on that and have to move it around. I know I've got a spin down in here somewhere. You know what? had a couple bags of dice in here. That's not what I'm after. No. Oh, here we go. Spin downs. I'm probably just going to move a spin down or two with Oddlock into my Arkham bag. So we're going to put that on 8 health and spin it down as we do damage to Oddlock Naka. For action 3, we need to get rid of this web right now, this sickening webs right now. So we're going to test Agility 3 with Trish since she's up 1 on that. We'll use, actually, you know what we can do? We'll use Quick Thinking to go up 2. This should, if this works, we'll be able to win the scenario right here. So, right, 4, Quick Thinking puts us up 2. Eon Chart, and we're going to commit Eon Chart as well to go up 4. I'm gambling here that, like I said, the gamble here is that we're going to end the scenario right now, and Sister Mary is not going to commit. So Trish is up 4. We've got a whole bunch of Bless tokens to help us out as well, so we can do that. Skull, as we saw, is minus X, where X is the highest amount of doom on a location, which right now is still 3. So let me just tally this up to make sure I've got everything right. So 4, 5 from Quick Thinking, 6, 7 from Eon Chart. Then a minus 3 brings me down to a 4. Actually, right? 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. So that brings me down to a 4, which means Trish does succeed getting rid of Sickening Webs, but we don't get the move. We don't get the move. We don't get the move from that, which is we don't get the extra action from Quick Thinking, which is actually, wait a second. Yeah, we do. We don't get the extra action, but we do get rid of Sickening Webs, so we can move. Right. So I think Trish is actually going to stay put because I'd rather not have Sister Mary come face to face with that Grey Weaver, especially since Sister Mary's got... Actually, Trish has more of our clues. Do we Pathfinder? No, I don't think we Pathfinder her down. I think we leave Trish there because she can take an attack from the Grey Weaver much better than Sister Mary can right now. Plus, I want to make sure we've got some... I want to make sure we've got a couple of investigators there. That way we can actually meet Oddlock Naka there. So Trish is going to stay put. Sister Mary is going to move in for action 1, make friends with Oddlock Naka. She will be taking an attack on this, but there's really nothing I can do about that unless... Do we try a 1-2 punch? No, I think we take the guaranteed 6 damage and then plan on... I think we take the guaranteed 6 damage from the clues, since also Oddlock Naka... I think Oddlock Naka can make attacks of opportunity, so that's kind of a bit of a problem there, having to spend those clues. Unless it had the clause of cannot make attacks of opportunity. Or this action doesn't trigger attacks of opportunity, but it doesn't. So, right. That's actually a much bigger problem then. So I think for action 2, Sister Mary is going to play out one of her copies of 1-2 Punch. So she gets +1 combat for this attack. If she succeeds, she can fight again. She gets +2 combat and deals +1 damage for that attack. Nathaniel is renowned for his rapid left jab and right cross signature move. Let's see how well Sister Mary does in the boxing ring herself. Right now she's at a 4, 5 from the attack on 1-2 Punch, and I'm going to commit Runic Axe to put her at a 6. So she's at a 6 to a 4, up 2. This first attack deals 1 damage. Actually, let me just double check that. 4, 5, 6, and I committed Runic Axe. Yep, up 2. Bless puts her up 4. -1. So Sister Mary was up 2 on the attack, which means I'll exhaust Sacred Covenant to keep the Bless token in the bag. Atlach Naka takes 1 damage, and then we get to fight again. We get +2 combat this time and deal +1 damage on the attack. So now we're at a 4, 6, and I'm going to commit Blessed. Actually, no, I'm not going to commit Blessed Blade. We're up 2 and dealing 2 damage this time. -1 means Atlach Naka takes another 2 damage. That's going to bring her down to 5. So that first 1-2 punch is gone. Well, for action 3, do we try it again? Unfortunately, I don't have as many commit options as I did for that first attack. Sister Mary could take 1 attack to the face, but she'd have to use Greta as a shield for 1 of them. Actually, if Atlach Naka... So Sister Mary would be taking an attack if Atlach Naka leaves. So I think, we actually got a big problem on our hands because we're putting 2 more Doom up on the Great Web. So, right, I think we are going to have to bite the bullet and attack again, and use the 1-2 punch again. Trish is probably going to have to spend the clue since Sister Mary actually can't take the attack. Since Sister Mary can only take 1 attack from Atlach Naka. To the face, I mean. She can use Greta as a shield for 1 of them. So we are at 4, 5. We're up 1. I'll commit my other copy of Greta to go up... yeah, we'll commit Greta wet. We'll commit our other copy of Greta to go up 3. Bless puts her up 5. Bless puts her up 7. Skull is -3 as we saw earlier. So the Blessed tokens stay out of the bag, one of which will go to the top of Sister Mary's deck, and Atlach Naka will take another 2 damage to go down to 3. That will do it for Sister Mary. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the Grey Weaver will make friends with Trish, and I'm hoping this plan didn't just blow up in my face. So Sister Mary or Trish will take a damage and 2 sanity. Sister Mary will take an attack. Will take 2 and 2 from Atlach Naka. Bye-bye, Greta. We have to use her as a shield on this one. And then at the end of the enemy phase, the Swarm of Spiders at the Spider of Lang's location gets another Swarm card. So now we'll reset everything. And now let's move back up top for the upkeep phase. Trish will gain 1 resource and go to 4. Sister Mary will gain 1 resource. Trish will draw. Lola Santiago, no-nonsense archaeologist. 3 cost to play, 2 lore on commit. +1 lore, +1 agility. Fast action, exhaust Lola Santiago and spend X resources. Discover a clue at your location. X is the shroud value of your location. Sister Mary will throw the blessed token in the bag, and she will draw. Daring. We saw this earlier. Then we can move the counter up to 7. Now let's move over to the map for the Mythos phase. So you guys remember what I was saying last round about the blessed tokens gumming up the bag because I needed Atlach Naka to move? Now I'm happy those blessed tokens are in the bag because now I want her to stay put or move very little. Because if Atlach Naka doesn't move or spins once, we should be able to get to her and be able to end the scenario. But we've got to deal with that Grey Weaver on Trish in case Atlach Naka spins again. So let's see what happens here. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy. No whammy. The blessed tokens come in clutch. So Atlach Naka stays put. Now, as long as Sister Mary doesn't get surprise yeeted out of existence, we should be able to complete the scenario this turn. So, Doom on the agenda goes up to 1, but we're actually at 2, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12 of 15. Trish will draw. The Spinner in Darkness. Revelation. Attached to the nearest Ancient One enemy. Attached enemy gets +1 damage and +1 horror. Uh-oh. Action, test any skill 5. If you succeed, discard the Spinner in Darkness. That's bad. Well, actually, that might not be too bad. Sister Mary will draw. Sickening Web. So Sister Mary can't move now. Okay, that kind of changed the math a little bit, but probably not enough. Well, I would say not enough, but it might actually make a big difference. So, well, now we're into the investigation phase, and Sister Mary needs to get that. We need to get that Spinner in Darkness off of Atlach Naka, because if Sister Mary takes an attack of opportunity now, she won't survive to be able to spend the clue to get rid of Atlach Naka. So I think the better plan here, who can get a skill up higher? I think Trish is probably our best bet. But she needs to get away from this Grey Weaver first. So this has to take 1 action. So Trish is going to... We're actually going to start with Trish, and we're going to stay right here at the map. I just realized I've got an even bigger problem on my hands, because the test on the Spinner in Darkness actually would provoke an attack of opportunity as well, which means I need to be able to survive that. So, with that in mind, Trish has got to evade the Grey Weaver right now, which means those blessed tokens really need to come in clutch. So with that in mind, since this is an ability printed on a scenario card, I would rule that that an evasion test is an ability printed on a scenario card. So we're going to test. So Trish for action 1 is going to try to get away from the Grey Weaver. We're going to commit True Understanding to the test, which is going to put Trish up 2. But I'm also relying on the fact that I've got 7 blessed tokens in the bag. cultist is... Reveal another token. If you fail and there's an Ancient One enemy at your location, it attacks you. There isn't an Ancient One enemy at the location, so we at least dodge that one. Come on. Skull. Oh no. Skull is minus X, where X is the highest number of doom in play, which is 4. So the attack actually fails, or the evasion fails. Fortunately, there's no Ancient One enemy there, so Trish doesn't get attacked. Action 2, let's try the evasion again. +1 gets us away from the Grey Weaver, thankfully. Then we'll exhaust Pathfinder to move down to the Great Web Tangled Web with Sister Mary. Then for Action 3, we're going to initiate the act ability to spend a clue to deal 3 damage to an Ancient One enemy at your location. This will trigger an attack of opportunity, which will deal 3 damage and 3 horror. Trish will put 2 of the horror on Milan, 1 of the damage on him, take the last horror herself because she has to. She'd be assigning more damage than Milan could survive, and take the last damage herself as well. So Milan would be defeated, but the most important part of that is that Trish does survive the attack of opportunity. With that, she'll spend her clue to deal the last 3 damage to Atlach Naka, and we have defeated Atlach Naka, the Spider God. Since Atlach Naka has been defeated, we advance. Falling down. The creature thrashes about violently as its webbing is ripped apart. The shimmer fades from the bridge's threads. In the distance, the cosmic array of lights winks out of existence, star by star. The spider's pained screech is deafening. You're not sure if it would be possible to kill a creature such as this, but you have done more harm to it in destroying its life's work than you could have ever done with bullets and blades. Well, Sister Mary was determined to prove that point. As the woven threads of spider silk unravel, this realm's many suspended platforms of rock crumble and collapse into the endless aether below. You struggle to find something to stand on or grab hold of. Without the support of the web bridge, the entire dimension collapses all around you. With a final desperate screech that echoes throughout this world between worlds, Atlach Naka plunges into the eternal darkness below. You are quick to follow. R1. Let's move back up top for R1. We're all set for Resolution 1. So, Phoenix Knight from the past. Once I get it queued up to its proper start point, Phoenix Knight from the past, take it away.
Resolution 1. You clutch a silken thread, the only thing keeping you from plummeting through the endless depths of the void. In your campaign log, record the bridge was destroyed. Each investigator earns experience equal to the victory X value of each card in the victory display. Each investigator earns 5 bonus experience as they prevented the dreamlands and reality from merging. Check the campaign log. Resolve the topmost section option that applies. If the investigators found a way out of the underworld, skip to Resolution 3. If the investigators are trapped in Atlach Naka's realm, skip to Resolution 4. If none of the above are true, skip to Resolution 5.
Okay, checking all of this out. The investigators didn't find a way out of the underworld. They're not trapped in Atlach Naka's realm, so we go to Resolution 5.
Resolution 5. You have stopped the Spider God from completing its web, but in the process, you have cut off the quickest way for you to return home. So, with your task complete, you begin the long climb toward reality. You are lucky that remnants of the web bridge still remain intact, or you would have been stranded in this hellish world between worlds. It takes many hours for you to retrace your steps to the underworld. You eventually emerge from the thick, tar-like sea of pitch close to the shoreline. To your dismay, you realize that you are on the opposite shore of the sea from the dark vale from which you once embarked. With no way to cross the deadly sea, you'll have to find another way out of this barren expanse. Days pass as you continue to explore the underworld, reaching darker and more forbidden lands as you travel deeper and deeper below the crust of the Earth's dreamlands. Though you eventually find a stairway up, it is very different from the one leading to the unnameable. A spiraling, otherworldly series of steps that reach dizzying heights and break all laws of reality. When you reach the top, your heart sinks. There is no sign of Arkham here. You are greeted instead by a strange, ruined city and its half-human denizens. The creatures inform you that you have reached the lost city of Sarkomand. It appears your return journey is far from over. In your campaign log, record the investigators are still in the Dreamlands. Each investigator suffers 2 physical trauma from their fierce fight with the Spider God. If you are playing the Web of Dreams as a 4-part campaign, the investigators win the campaign. If you are playing the Dream Quest and the Web of Dreams as an interconnected 8-part campaign, and you have not yet played Scenario 4A, Where the Gods Dwell, proceed to that scenario. And you have already played Scenario 4A, Where the Gods Dwell, proceed instead to Epilogue.
We, of course, played Where the Gods Dwell yesterday, and suffice it to say, it did not go well for Jenny and Luke. So, that's going to bring us into the epilogue. I'm presuming there's an epilogue intro here as well. Is there not? There, epilogue if... Oh. Okay, so here's what we're doing. So we've got this chart. I'm going to try doing this so I don't spoil it. So read this epilogue only if you're playing the Dream Quest and the Web of Dreams as an interconnected 8-part campaign. Do not read this epilogue until both scenarios 4A, Where the Gods Dwell, and 4B, Weaver of the Cosmos, have been completed. Check the campaign log for both campaigns. Use the matrix below to find the epilogue that applies to your situation, then proceed to that epilogue. So checking on the Dream side, we find Nyarlathotep's invasion has begun, and the investigators are still in the Dreamlands. So Nyarlathotep's invasion has begun, and the investigators are still in the Dreamlands. So we proceed to Epilogue 4. Once again, Phoenix Knight from the past, take it away.
Epilogue 4. What are you still doing here of all places? Oh, I see. You cannot find your way back to the waking world. Well, perhaps that is for the best. You see, your erstwhile companions are awake once more, but they have brought a passenger with them, along with them. Do you really have to ask? You know of whom I speak. Trust me, stay here, in this world. Forget everything about your old life. It'll be much better here, I promise. Each investigator from Campaign B lives a life of ignorant bliss. The investigators averted one form of destruction, but not the other.
That would be the Dreamers getting destroyed. So, right. It was a life of ignorant bliss. Just making a note on the campaign log. But that will do it for this playthrough of Weaver of the Cosmos. Hopefully yet this week I'm expecting to have a formal outro to the campaign. I might try to do it yet today, but don't hold me to that. Mainly because I'm going to be playing Combat Commander Europe with Jester on his channel later tonight at 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 Eastern. So stop by and say hi with that. Wednesday we'll be stepping back into our playthrough of Mag-23 Guadalcanal. And I'm also expecting to have our first recipe out of the Mystical Munchies cookbook, out of the new Mystical Munchies cookbook on Saturday, but I'll have more on that during the end of May recap. Sunday next week, we'll see a brand new game debut on the channel as we step back into the hockey rink to play Inside the Crease Hockey from Inside Sports Games. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.